Alrighty, bro. So, hold on a second here. You good with the feet? You good with the feet? Alright, brother. So, alright. Yeah, what's the systems go here?
Alright, let's go. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother? How you been?
Good, man, good. Just starting to get back out into the world again, you know?
Starting to get back out in, no stand-up for you.
Yeah, I'm going to start getting back to outdoor mics soon. You know what I understand now? I never understood as a kid when, like a basketball player or someone would, like, tear their ACL and be out for a year. And they were, like, talking about the struggle. And I was like, it can't be that hard. You just, like stretch and then you come back. But then, like, I couldn't do stand-up for the past year. And now I get it because you're, like, you have these, like, thoughts that you didn't expect. You're like, am I going to get better? Like, is it ever going to go back to normal? All this stuff. And then you see other people working. You're like, oh, I'm like, everyone's passing me by. And you think all this stuff. And, like, now I get it. When people, like, they're like, oh, it was, like, tough when I, like, tore my ACL. But now I, like, understand it, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I love the analogy, too, because it's like, you know, it's like the old, you don't know what you got till it's gone type of thing, you know? And it's, like, really made me, like, reflect and think about, like, the one thing that always drove me crazy, though, about, like, for instance, I met you at the Creek in the Cave, right?
Yeah. R.I.P.
It's a shithole, that place. Every time I went there, I felt like I needed to get a flu and a tetanus shot. And it was like, anytime it rained, too, I'd be like, all right, do I really want to go and do stand-up at a place that smells like they've been giving out colonoscopies all day long? It's always stunk down there.
I loved the Creek.
I did, too. I really did. But it's like, so here's my question to you about comedy, right?
Yeah.
Does it always have to be at a place where you feel like you're going to be walking into your own assassination? Like, comedy clubs to me are kind of like that, you know? And to me, like, I've always liked the comedy world, but the one thing that always drove me crazy, and maybe you can, you know, give your take on it. It's like I always, like, when I moved from one town to another, when I was a kid, I felt like bullied, right? And it's like people don't want me sitting at their lunch table, and I've always kind of felt that vibe in like stand-up comedy where it's like, I've always just been like, yo, what's going on, man? How you doing? And I mean, I'm just brand new to stand-up comedy, so I don't think maybe I'm not funny enough where these people like are like cool with me. Maybe I'm not funny at all. I don't know, but it's like I've always gone to these places. I'm like, just be fucking nice, you dirtbag.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people like are just like super nervous, so they're like keeping quiet. Other people, there's like the social climbers that only talk to people that can advance their career. So like until they see that you can advance their career, they're not gonna like.
And I hate those fucks.
It's like, yeah.
Like that, to me, that's not my thing.
It's like, yeah, just get better at stand-up.
Yeah, get better at stand-up and just be nice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a... Like, if you can't help my career, like, oh, I don't want to talk... To me, that's just, like, shallow.
Yeah. I think it's a New York thing, too.
You do?
Because, like, New Yorkers, we're just, like, rude. Like, New York is like if, like, the Chipotle staff was a state. You know?
That's...
Because when my friend moved to Florida, and he was like, everyone down here is so nice. And I was like, yeah, like I guess everyone up here is just like a dick. And I didn't even realize I was like, whenever someone would be nice to me in New York, just like in general, I would think like they were faking it or there was something like off with them.
I gotcha.
Like I'd be like, not even just doing stand up, like anywhere, and someone would be really nice, and I'd be like, I hope they get the help they need. But they're just being nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. Like there was always that kid. Remember that guy, that comedian Tim? I always found him to be like really, really funny, and I think he was from Florida or somewhere. But I remember I actually have his number. It's one of those guys that like during the whole pandemic, like the only people that I've really kept in touch with has been you.
Yeah.
You know, and like bunkering down here in the dip. It's my boat. It's the Serendipity, but we call it the dip. It's the dip.
Yeah.
And I've been like trying to figure out podcast names. Like one of them was going to be the Little Shot Podcast, and then you came out with the name
Shipwrecked. Because you're on a ship, so it's like, or a boat ship, you know? So it's like.
And then I looked at Shipwrecked, and it's taken.
Is it really?
So then I'm like, well, Shipwrecked is taken, but Shipwrecked with Woodsie is not taken. So then I'm like, but I love that name. And I've asked people, I'm like, what do you think? And they're like, oh, Shipwrecked.
Or you
Shipwrecked.
could do like.
I'm like, yeah, my boy Mikey. Well, first introduce my boy. You're fucking you're Mikey, fucking Mikey Mac, bro.
Yeah, my name is Mike McPartland.
How do you spell that?
MC capital P.
Oh.
ARTLAND.
McPartland, dude.
Yes.
I've been calling you McFarland.
That's all right. It's close enough.
Forever.
That's all good.
Dude, I'm so psyched that you
Nah,
don't even give
yeah.
me the correction. You're like, dude,
It's not a big
It's a
deal.
P.
That's the worst, when you say someone's name wrong and they're like, actually, and you're like, I don't care. Like,
Well, I'm Steven, right? So
Yeah.
everybody calls me whenever, like, people who, like, credit card companies will be like, "Hi, is this Stefan?"
that's amazing.
Every day I get called Stefan. It doesn't really, it never bothers me, you know?
I don't care. It's like,
I don't
whatever.
care.
It's like, as long as you're like close. It's not because it's like no one's like trying to insult you when they say your name wrong.
True. That's true.
And it's like, if your name is something that like people need to know, like you'll get to where you know what I mean. Like you'll get to that point at some point.
It's true.
And if not, there's no point correcting people because everyone's
Yeah.
gonna forget about you.
Yeah, and they can go bang themselves. So, like, I haven't seen you in almost a year.
Yeah, it's been since like March.
It's got to be a solid year.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing, man? Because I know I've tried to link up with you to do this, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait it out a little bit more. I'm gonna
Yeah.
wait it out, and I respect that because you got family and stuff like that. So what have you been doing, bro?
I've been watching The Wire.
Dude, what a
So
fucking
good. I have
dude.
one episode left, dude, and like I almost don't want to watch it because I don't want it to like end.
You don't? Isn't that amazing? It's like when I love food, so it's like when I was a little kid, I'd drive up to the deli, I get 2 Virginia ham, not ham, Virginia ham, 2 eggs, cheese, salt, bagel, 2 of them,
Okay.
and I would slowly eat them because I didn't want them to be finished.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be finished, and that's how you're feeling with like Omar. I told you I met Omar. I met the actor. Me and my son were walking in Brooklyn, and I was like, "Buddy, hold on a second here, pal."
Yeah, that's Omar.
My son's like, "Dad, what's going on?" I was like, "Get over here, kid. I'm gonna introduce you to a legend." It's probably one of my favorite. Now it might be like Thomas Shelby of Peaky Blinders, like maybe
I
one
gotta
of
watch
my.
that show.
Yeah, it's a great show. But Omar is hands down top 2 favorite characters of all time. The Wire is probably the GOAT of all television series.
Yeah. You know what's funny? One thing, like, because like with all those shows, I've noticed like a sign of me maturing is that I don't think I would survive to the end of the show. Because when I was a kid, I'd watch Breaking Bad and I'd be like, oh, I'd make it to the last episode. And then like I watched The Wire and I was like, oh, I would have been dead in like the second episode. Like there's 65 episodes. I'm missing 60.
Yeah, I'm getting assassinated.
The first person to get shot in the show like would have been me.
You think?
Yeah, if you stay in your car to finish the song, you're not surviving to the end of a TV show. I'm sorry, you're not.
It's amazing.
It's just like, because like everyone wants to think they're the guy that makes it to the end, but like you're not, probably.
You're probably gonna get fucking murdered.
Yeah, like on Prison Break, like everyone thinks they're like, oh, I'm the guy that breaks out. Like you're the guy that breaks his leg trying to escape.
Yeah.
That's what those shows do, though, because they're so good. They like suck you in, and you're like, "Oh, if I was,
I could run a mob family.
I would survive."
Yeah, I could do. I'm not gonna rat to the police.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. It's true. It's true. Like I've always thought about that too. Like I wouldn't snitch. And like my cousin does undercover gun sales. That's what he does, which is like crazy job. And he's told me like stories of like all these guys, like from gangster to, it doesn't matter what affiliation you are. Once we start to hit you with like RICO shit, and we're like, by the way, just want to give you a little fucking tidbit of info. Like, if you don't give us what we want, you're gonna do 40 years in prison.
Yeah, that's too much.
So, and it's funny because I saw this like one guy on Mike Francesa or something. He was on like Mike Tyson's Hot Boxing.
Okay.
So many great podcasts out there. I said to myself, why not be original and start another podcast?
Yeah.
Right? But he talked about that. He was like, an old, he ran a mob family, and he just said like once Giuliani came in with like all the RICO shit, it was like it went from like, a 2-year fucking prison sentence back,
Yeah.
It's like, I could fucking do that. I'll stand on my hands. But then it was like you bring, the racketeering,
Dude, 40 years is that's 10 World Cups.
Well, that's 10 World Cups.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time.
Like, I'm good.
So if you're, you get hit with one of those, are you going to fucking flip and give them what they want, or are you going to fucking go out on your sword?
That's tough. I'm telling, I think.
40 years in the hole?
Yeah, I'm telling.
It's a tough one.
Because, like...
but in the show, you'd like to think I'm that guy.
In the show, I don't even get caught.
In
the show, they're like, this guy's he's so good. How does he keep evading everyone? But
this guy McPartland's a fucking beast.
Yeah, in real life, my DNA is everywhere. I'm on camera. I brought my cell phone. Like, I'm cooked.
You're fucking cooked.
Yeah, I'm getting caught.
Yeah,
Like,
you're cooked with gasoline.
Yeah.
So The Wire, and who's your favorite character?
Top three would probably be Avon, Bodhi, and Michael.
Okay, Michael's a beast.
Michael's awesome.
Dude, what's his friend's name? The kid who's like gets
Dookie?
picked. Dude.
I like Dookie too.
They say that Dookie is supposed to be Bubs later in life.
Oh, that would make sense.
So they're saying like all these different characters as youngsters are the older characters that like Michael's supposed to be Avon. Bubs is supposed to be
Dookie,
or Dookie's supposed to be, or however which way you want it. But
that makes
apparently,
sense.
like they made these like linear connections to like the characters.
Yeah, because Weebei's son was like in the later seasons too.
The biggest fear about doing these things when you have the cameras going, that's
Yeah.
why I did that, is like, is that thing still recording?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's the fear. It's like it cuts off and I can't see.
and you miss half the podcast.
And you miss half the podcast.
Yeah.
You're fucking taking a dump in somebody's ear. You're taking a shit in these microphones, right? And then you're like, great. I was going and nothing
Yeah.
was recording.
Yeah, 'cause you have a good like flowing conversation, and then the phone's just like
They just fucking
the
go.
phone takes the day.
It's fucking brutal. I mean, but then it's like, all right, worst case scenario is I at least have the audio of it, right?
Yeah, I like video. I feel
But
like
this, yeah.
video keeps people like more engaged. Like I'm more likely to watch a podcast with video than listen to it.
Well, for me lately, like one of my biggest things is like listening to podcasts in the car.
Okay.
You know, like there's studies done that said that like listening to like AM radio or talk show radio is like really, really beneficial to your brain opposed to like listening to a song that you've heard 78 fucking times.
Yeah.
You know, like I've listened to Nirvana's fucking Nevermind, this fucking album. It's got to be at least in the close to 1,000 times. So it's like
Yeah.
when you know, like, does that do anything for your brain? But apparently, like talk shows and like podcasts, like I love to just listen to them when I'm driving.
Okay. Do you listen to Nirvana a lot?
I do.
Do you think Kurt Cobain killed himself, or do you think someone killed him?
Totally killed himself.
You think so?
He was a tortured soul.
Okay. You ever watch? There's a Netflix documentary. It's called like "Soaked in Bleach," where they,
Yeah.
they talk about how like his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend and like her new boyfriend like kind of killed him.
No, I know, and they come up with all this shit. They're all money grabs to me. They're all just like these types of programs that could be like, well, you know, if this could have happened and that could have happened. Like the whole thing to me too is like the whole conspiracy with like Tower 5 of like 9/11, right? It's like, was it brought down because, you know, let's keep in mind here, 2 fucking 104 tower buildings got taken right to its fucking knees. The structures around that area are going to also be, you know,
I don't think you could.
compromised.
They could do something like that and nobody find out.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, did it look like a demolition that was professionally done?
Yeah.
It did. But do I think that it was? No. Do I think Cobain killed himself? Dude, the guy was like, he had stomach problems. He's banging dope. He was a tortured son of a bitch.
That's true.
What do you think?
I think they killed him.
You do?
Yeah, well, because they said he had like overdose amounts of heroin in his system when he shot himself. And like, how are you gonna shoot yourself when you're like on heroin? You know.
Very interesting.
And there was just other stuff. They said like apparently he was like starting to turn his life around.
With all that heroin in him?
Well, like he was like he wouldn't kill himself.
All right.
But yeah, that's possible. I mean,
Are you a big Nirvana guy?
nah, I listen to like 2 songs.
That's it.
Yeah, the one that's like, and then the other one that's like, you know, that like,
Come
yes,
as
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah, those 2. That's it.
Wow.
I'm not a big like rock guy.
What are you into?
I like rap music. During the pandemic, I got into house music a little bit because I'd be like running and stuff, and like I like running with like house music, like faster beats.
Now, rap music, what are we into? Give me your top 3 right now, because you and I have had some conversations about
Yeah.
this.
Top 3 right now, I would say Freddie Gibbs, A$AP Rocky, Travis Scott. I listened to Travis Scott like before he like blew up. Like one of my friends, like he has an album on SoundCloud. It's like he was like pretty big before, but like he had an album on SoundCloud that like one of my friends showed me, So like I knew who he was like before Rodeo came out. So
I love that song.
yeah,
You know
it
what
doesn't
song?
matter.
I love that song with Travis Scott and 21 Savage, Outside.
Yeah, it's on
That
Birds in the Trap,
song's a
right? That
beast of a
song's so
song.
good.
I love 21 Savage's verse in that.
He's so good.
He's awesome.
I like how he's just like telling you what he's doing.
Yeah, and I just like his style. He's like real. He's like a guy that like I think that there's a lot of rappers out there. They're just, listen, I'm a white boy, and you listen to some of these rappers and like some of them I could be like, nah, I ain't buying their shit. Like I'm not buying the fact that they're a gangster and this and that. 21 Savage wouldn't want to cross that dude.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Would not want to cross that dude. He's a real dude.
He's really good. He makes it. I think he dropped an album with Metro Boomin like earlier this year.
Now, my son was just playing me some really, really cool beats by this one guy who, like, Kanye West said he was, like, the greatest producer of all time, and he did stuff in, like, a hospital bed, and I actually should ask it was insane. These freaking, these mixes that he did and these samples that he did, it was berserk.
Do you remember his name or not?
No, and I wish I did because it was insane.
All right, let me know when you...
What do you think about Conway the Machine?
He's pretty good. He's in Griselda, right?
You like Griselda?
Yeah, I started listening to them like a month or two ago.
The Buffalo Mafia, bro?
Yeah, I'll listen to them because like sometimes when I write jokes, I like to have a little bit of background noise. So I'll put like an album on and then like put it on kind of low and then just write.
Give me a new joke right now.
All right. Do you think there's a guy that showed up to the Boston Tea Party not understanding what it was about? They're like setting stuff on fire, and he's like, "Hey, where should I put the croissants?" That would be like missing the memo for an ugly sweater party, but it ends up in a textbook. Guy's on page 297 wearing a nice jacket. And then I don't know where I'm going with the joke, but like, I feel like they're really lucky the government weren't coffee drinkers. Because if you throw the government's coffee into the harbor, like you're not walking away with more rights. Like you're not. They got so lucky. Because tea drinkers will back off.
Tea drinkers back off. Coffee
drinkers
at
do
you,
not.
running and gunning.
I used to work at a Dunkin' Donuts, and if you messed up someone's coffee, they would come back and like yell at you.
At Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, but like you mess up someone's tea, they just kind of deal with it.
They just deal with it.
They're like, I guess I like sugar now.
What's my favorite joke of you with the Dunkin' Donuts and
the Starbucks one?
Yeah, give us that.
I'll do one line of it. It's that Dunkin' Donuts seems like the place Starbucks customers get sent to when they misbehave.
Always one of my favorites, Michael.
Thank you.
Always one of my favorites. You always had just these. I mean, the Tiger Woods joke.
Yeah, I forgot that one.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
That was a great joke.
I gotta like put it together, So I'm trying to work on that now. Once like I can start doing more mics, I'm gonna try to like get good at like doing longer sets, cause like I kind of fall apart in like 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like that's the one thing about stand-up comedy that I've really come to respect. Like I was always a big stand-up comedy fan,
Yeah.
But then you try to. Like, for me, it's just one of those things. It's like, just go and do it. And I talked about it for a long time. Like, yeah, man, I want to go and take a shot at stand-up comedy. But then it's like the fear hits you. And, like, it's like, you're judged immediately. And
yeah, I think anyone that, like, is thinking about stand-up should do it. 100%.
Yeah, it's been but then you learn, like, once you do it. And then you're like, you watch a guy like Dave Chappelle do it. You're like, man, oh, man, just like this guy was certainly born he was put on planet Earth to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, but do you think he was that good the first time he did stand-up?
I mean, I used to. So one of the great things about Chappelle that I've always been a comedy fan. So I was always watching Def Comedy Jam. You ever watch Def Comedy Jam?
Yeah, with like Bernie Mac and.
Yeah, so like on HBO when I was in high school, my routine was every Thursday night was a new Def Comedy Jam. So I would do Seinfeld, Def Comedy Jam, Conan O'Brien, The Simpsons. That was my lineup.
Okay.
Now, Chappelle used to always be on Def Comedy Jam, and Bernie Mac and Bill Bellamy and all these dudes, And I mean, I'm sure. Everybody bombs, right? I mean, nobody's never not bombed.
Yeah, because it's like It's
But to
like
see his transition too, if you ever watch some of old Chappelle's stuff on Def Comedy Jam, as to like his newer stuff now, it's like, geez, man, like
yeah, I think he's like the best to ever do it.
yeah,
But I think also like I try not to compare myself to other people.
yeah.
'Cause I think that's you like because you'll never like you'll never feel like you hold up to those people. So you should try to be like the best version of yourself.
I agree.
Because like also if you're focusing on like other people's stuff, you won't be able to like get better.
And that's what you see a lot though too in stand-up comedy is like people shit on other people. They're like, oh, he's the, and I'm probably guilty of it too, where it's like, some people go up and I'm like,
Everyone, it's
I think it's yeah, it is, but you're right because it's like, number one, I respect anybody who gets up there and does it because it takes a monster set of balls just to get up there and be judged immediately in front of people, and then on top of it, have them not even laugh at any of your shit.
yeah. The first 2 months I did stand up, I was like just proud of myself that I just like was up there. I didn't even like I cared about doing well, but I was like even if I didn't do well, I was like okay, like at least I'm doing stand up. Then I remember like the first time I bombed really hard, I don't know why, but like I was wearing these like camo shorts, and I was like it's the shorts, and then I threw the shorts out. I was like I'm never
You
doing
threw
that.
him out.
Yeah, because when you bomb real hard, you get like your ears get hot,
Oh my god.
and you're like oh god,
I
that
re-
part sucks.
I remember
but-
like you were there for like one of the better sets that I had that one night, and then like I tried to replicate the next night that same set, and it was like an abysmal fucking failure.
that happens though.
Yeah, but it's like you try to capture that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. Also, too, though, I always think like you got bombing is like on the road to not bombing.
Yeah.
Like if you're on like a highway and like the exit is a good set, the whole parkway is like you bombing
Yeah, that's a good point.
and like messing up. Like I think like failing's good if it's not. There's times where you really like you don't want to be failing. Like if you're in front of a bunch of people or you have like an audition or something, then don't fail. But like if you're gonna go to an open mic, like go do bad. Who cares?
No, it's a good point. It's like, and then you sharpen the blade and you get better.
Yeah.
So like before the pandemic, how did you feel like you were coming along with? I mean, as an outsider looking into you, I'm like, this guy's like a savant. Like he's just coming. No, I mean, I'm not guessing. I'm not one to gas somebody up. You know what I mean? If I don't mean it, I'm not gonna say it. And I've always been like, man, oh man, this kid is just fucking. He's saying shit and coming up with shit that's like, I mean, funny stuff.
Thanks.
Like even like the Tiger Woods thing. It's like a little, but like, that's funny. Like, not what's the joke with Tiger Woods again with the boat privacy?
Oh, it's that he named his yacht Privacy because nothing says "Don't look at me" like a $30 million floating home.
I mean,
Yeah.
so when
Thanks.
but those little things is because see my problem with it is like, and I was told like you got a car like you go too long and like you're trying to but one of the things that I've always liked about your comedy is like that. Like boom, privacy, because nothing's it's just like short, sweet, and fucking simple.
Thanks.
And you get the fucking chuckle.
Yeah.
You get the chuckle.
My thing is, I have a hard time keeping people's attention for longer than like 7-8 minutes. Just because I got so used to the open mic structure where it's like I would do like 3 1-minute jokes and then I would like rotate them out every week. So like I have a bunch of like 1-minute bits, but they don't go together. So then it's like hard to like for people to follow because you're like doing a joke about like bananas and then you're doing a joke about your house the next minute. And
Yeah,
people are,
no.
So like my right before the pandemic, I was trying to get better at like joke transitions, like and like longer, like trying to gear towards being able to do like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Because if you could do 15 minutes, you could do like feature work in like clubs outside of New York and stuff, and then develop and grow.
Sure.
So that's what I was trying to work towards before the pandemic.
Yeah, man.
That's still what I'm trying to work towards now.
Well, yeah. So like, I guess how about this? Like, well, my next question to you would be, like, I've always kind of looked at things and been like, all right, there's got to be a better system to this. Like one of my buddies is an actor, right?
Yeah.
And I've never liked the whole system of like the auditioning and like there's so many people and they're fighting over the same role, and if you get picked he's in a great mood, and if you don't get picked he's like in a bad mood, and it's like constant rejection. And I understand that all comes with it, but it's like I've always come from like I don't want to be codependent and reliant upon anybody to be like, you got it, kid. And then I'm like, boom. It's like I want to go and just figure a way to like take it myself on my terms.
Yeah, well, for stand up, you have to be able to like sell tickets and like put butts in seats. So you have to do a ton of touring and like a ton of like not so great gigs on the road because you have to get fans.
Yeah.
So you have to do those like Red Lobster Pennsylvania shows where like 6 people see you.
But do you?
I think so. I mean, maybe if you could, because I think it's important for development too.
Yeah, no. That I totally agree with. But then I like also hear people doing like stuff on like Zoom and like no, like right away when people were telling me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing zero interest in any of that shit.
Yeah,
So like I've always felt that there's got to be a better, I don't know, like Andrew Schultz, that comedian.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some of the stuff that he's done, and I'm like,
he's been grinding for 20 years though.
He's been grinding for 20 years, but he's also like he cracked the code that nobody else was really thinking about too at the same time. Like
I think YouTube is a good way to like gain support, but you also the YouTube stuff is to get people to want to see you.
Well, it's funny. I was listening to Steve-O from Jackass.
Yeah.
What a fucking legend he is. Like I grew up on that guy, and he's fucking.
He does stand up too sometimes.
Yeah, and like I've heard people. That's like the thing that I love. It's like, and I know too. He's bouncing on the good foot now. He's sober, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey man, he's living life. He started a podcast. He's like doing all these things, and I'm like, God bless this guy. 1 minute he's shooting himself out of circus cannons into a fucking alligator swamp, and now he's doing fucking, podcasts and shit.
Yeah.
But he had one of the dudes like Violent J from Insane Clown Posse.
Okay.
And I've never been an Insane Clown Posse, and I didn't really know much about them other than, Eminem and him had like a beef back in like the 90s. I always just remember that. I
feel like Eminem beefed with everybody.
He did. He was just he was running and gunning for every fucking body.
Yeah.
But I knew nothing about but after this podcast, I was like, I've never listened to a song, but I'm going to buy some merch because I like this guy. Like I like his whole thing. And he just talked about how, and one of the Steve-O's partner on this podcast talked about he went to music business school, and like one of the examples they use was like Insane Clown Posse. Like you don't need, everybody thinks like, in the music business, you need to do this and then go get a label. But then again, like everybody who's signed major labels comes back and they say, like a lot of people, not all of them, have been like, the worst thing I ever did was sign a major label.
Yeah, with labels.
Sign with a major label.
Don't they take like?
They take everything. They take 360. It's like a 360 deal. They take all your merch. They take they take a percentage of your touring, and it's like these guys were like, "Fuck to you. I'm gonna go and just do my own thing."
So I think all the money in stand up is just in touring.
Touring, right?
Yeah, but you gotta tour like and not do well and make money for like a while. I think it's just part of the game.
It's just a part of the racket.
Yeah, I think I always like say to myself like you could pick what you do in life, but you can't pick like when you do it and like how it gets done. There's just like
yeah, but no, I hear what you're saying.
You could find holes in the system, but
I've always just been like, there's something wrong here with this whole stand-up thing, right? Like for me, I'm just like, maybe I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm like, there's got to be a better fucking mousetrap out there. There's got to be a better way to fucking do it. Like I got somehow, some way, I told you, like when I went to Governors, and I was definitely not ready for Governors, right? But like I somehow wiggled my way in, and like that's what I'm good at in life. Like I'll find a hole, and I'll punch that hole, and I'll be a relentless pain in the nuts to somebody to the point where like I'm bending their arm to the point where they're like, all right, just fucking put this kid up. And even though like I wasn't ready, it was like a great like learning experience for me, and I did get a couple chuckles, and I recorded my set, and I was like, for a guy who's only been doing this, like I was doing it for April was going to mark May was going to mark my 1 year. I was only doing it for like 10 months. But even there, I'm going like, I don't know. I've just always felt like there's got to be a better method out there. There's got to be a better system. But then again, like, am I just maybe trying to find like a shortcut to it?
Yeah, I think.
And maybe there is no shortcut.
I don't know. Grab a camera at some point just so like when I get back to doing stand-up, I could like see, because like little like hand movements and stuff and like where your eyes are and all that stuff is super important, and I want to like work on that too.
Sure.
So I want to get a camera so I could, because you listen to your sets like the audio, which helps a lot. But I feel like video recording would help too, because then you could like, oh, like my hand, it's like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like you're like this is like super defensive.
Well, that is. It's like body language. Like
Yeah,
this
or
is
you
like
hold
when
the mic
anybody's like talking to somebody like this, they're closed off. They're really not like interested in
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Or if you hold the mic with two hands, you look defensive. So I want to like watch like myself so I can like pick those mistakes out.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm excited to get back to doing stand up.
Yeah, man.
Outdoor comedy's weird. There's like a lot of it's weird because you're like doing stand up and there's like homeless people, and they're like watching you do stand up and you're like, I hope they don't like heckle me, you know, because like how do you can't.
How do you beat up how do you fucking go back at a poor guy who's homeless?
That's what I'm saying, and it's like.
Would you?
I would try to like nicely get him to stop talking.
What would you say?
I'd just be like, hey, can you stop?
If I give you $2, will
Yeah,
you
'cause
leave
it's
me the
like-
fuck alone?
Because also you can't really reason with like homeless people, you know.
They're fucking starting to get wild, bro.
They are like this guy just like set a garbage can on fire to stay warm. Like me going, hey, I'm trying to tell jokes right now. He's not gonna be like, oh, all right, why didn't you say that sooner? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He wants $7 and he wants it right now.
He wants $7 and he wants some kindling fucking wood to keep himself warm.
Yeah, and he wants
And
it.
you're slinging jokes around.
Yeah, your dreams don't. He doesn't care about your dreams, you know.
It's a very good point.
One time I did a mic and it was like 2 comics and a homeless guy. And he was just like he would comment on how he felt about every joke. So if a joke was funny, he'd go, "Ah, that's a good one," and then he would just like punch the table, and like everyone was like, "Oh God." It's better. I'd rather that though than.
But hey, dude, at least he's getting involved.
Yeah, he's an active audience member.
He's an active audience member. He's letting you know precisely what works and what does not.
That is true. I'm cool with that though.
You're cool with the stingy laugher?
Yeah, because it's like because at some point you're gonna run into people who like don't want to laugh at your jokes. So like let's work on that as soon as possible, you know? Like I'm okay with it being like a little bit more difficult, because if you're a good comic, you'll make them laugh. Cuz like let's say like Bill Burr is at the mic, right? That guy's going to laugh. He's going to make that guy laugh.
You were telling me something about Burr where he'll like purposely
Yeah, they said he makes himself he'll make himself do bad so he can dig himself out.
Wow.
He's like one of the best ever.
Dude. Beast.
He was on Mike Tyson's podcast too.
I know.
I didn't listen to it, but I saw he was
I
on it.
actually listened to a bunch of it.
You know, when he was in New York he did Saturday Night Live, he was doing outdoor shows. There was people had Instagram stories of him just outside, just fucking working out jokes.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him, dude.
Legend.
He's a legend. You know?
You was crazy. Not random subject change with you. I found my first gray hair. Dude,
Where'd you spot it?
the side of my head. Dude, it was I had a literal crisis. I was like, oh, because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die one day, all the time. I was like, oh no.
Dude, how old are you right now?
24.
Dude, you're so fucking young.
Dude, you know what I heard? I heard once you get your first gray hair, the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" adds itself to your playlists.
That's another fucking good little bit, bro.
I woke up, I saw it in there, and I was like, oh no.
So run through a few more of them. Give me the newest ones. You had me on the horn the other night. I was cracking up.
I had one that's do you think the president ever gets put on hold? He makes a phone call, and they're like, have you considered becoming a National Guard rewards member? And he's like, am I on hold right now? And then the defense secretary's like, have you tried pressing 7? And then just that, I think being the president's a tough job because you got to deal with things as they happen. You know? You can't be like, hey, can we rise tensions in the morning? Blue Bloods is on.
Blue Bloods.
That's a president's show, you know?
Yeah,
right?
I never got into those.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, but they're the biggest shows in TV.
I watched NCIS when I was a kid.
Well, dude, those are those crime drama, dude, and it's there's that whole method to them.
I don't like the plot armor is too thick for the main characters.
What was your favorite season of The Wire?
Maybe 3 or 4.
What do you think about McNutty?
He's awesome. I got one episode left. He's in a tough spot, but you know what I don't like? I don't like the newspaper. They're tough. Like I wish that wasn't what the last season was.
Who's that? Tommy Carnsetti? Who's the
Oh,
mayor?
he's the mayor. Tommy Carcetti.
Tommy Carcetti.
I like him. I hated him at first, but like I kind of like him now.
And he's in Game of Thrones.
He is Lord Baelish.
And he's also Aberama Gold in Peaky Blinders.
He's in that show. Is he?
Oh, dude, he's
is he
a
the
beast.
Same guy in every show?
He's great, dude. He's Aberama Gold. He plays a fucking gypsy.
Is he really?
It's so good, man.
But like in The Wire, he's like scheming. Game of Thrones, he's scheming like even harder.
What do you think? You didn't like Prop Joe? Did you tell me you didn't?
I like him now. Okay, so when we were talking about it, he was like, he would just randomly just be in the show, and I was like, But then he kind of took on a more main role, and I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah, Prop Joe's great.
He's awesome. I like Marlo, and Chris and Snoop. They're cool. Snoop's awesome.
Oh, dude. Now, are you at the point like?
I don't want to give any spoilers away, just in case people listening like watch the show. I got one episode left.
Gotcha.
So,
All right, so
I think it's the best show I ever watched.
They did classes at Harvard on it. Yeah. It was like the first. You know, it's funny, man. I remember like when these types of shows, like they were the OG of it all.
Yeah, every show. Now that I know The Wire was the Sopranos was before The Wire, right? Because that was like the late '90s, early 2000s.
That I don't know.
I think every show I've watched before The Wire, I now realize was like heavily influenced by The Wire.
Well, you know, it's funny because a lot of these TV shows that came about, like The Sopranos, right? You had James Gandolfini, who was in like True Romance. I don't know if you ever see True Romance.
Nah.
Played a great character in that, and like I heard that, you know, through his role with that and like how he played it, when they were looking to cast for Tony Soprano, they were like, this guy would be great, you know.
Yeah.
Tarantino wrote True Romance, and it was directed by Tony Scott. So there was like no big name attached because the movie stars are like, we don't do TV.
Yeah, Game of Thrones was like that too. There wasn't really any huge actors.
No, and then it created. I mean,
I think you're better off having like not huge actors.
You are better off
because they're more hungry. Like Brad Pitt's not going to give you his best.
I think Brad Pitt is the most underrated actor of all time.
You think so?
I do, because I think he's so fucking good looking that everybody's just like, oh, but you want to talk about a fucking insane actor?
I've only seen 2 of his movies.
Dude, Brad Pitt.
2?
You ever see Snatch?
No. Is that the one with the serial killer?
No. That's like 7 pound.
It's like
seven something. Yeah.
But him and
But
I don't know. Also, too, if I do something and it works out, like people will find out that it's working out, you know. But if it doesn't work out, then it's like I gotta like tell everyone. It's, you know. But yeah, all I really want to do right now is just get good at stand up. Get better at writing jokes. Get better at like transitions. Get good at crowd work. Like all that stuff.
I never want to do crowd work.
I want to do.
I
crowd work.
fucking hate crowd work.
I want to do like fun crowd work. Like I don't want to like be like, oh, you guys are on a date. Like I'm gonna go.
I never want to do crowd work. Now, can I be a comedian who never does crowd work, or do you? Is that something that you have to do?
You could do. I mean, you could do it without doing. Crowd work's fun if it's like. I don't like the crowd work that's like, oh, you guys are on a date. Like I'm gonna break you guys up now. I don't like that crowd work, but like, crowd work could be fun. You know, like. I think crowd work's good because it keeps the audience on their toes and paying attention.
Yeah.
Because stand-up, I feel like it has to look like you're not. This isn't rehearsed. Everyone, like, we all want to think it's like this guy just got up there and just talked. We don't want to really think like how hard it is.
Gotcha.
So when you're doing crowd work, it looks like I'm just talking to people, and it looks more natural. If it's good crowd work, bad crowd work doesn't look natural, but it's all about just looking natural and like looking like you're not trying, even though you're trying really hard.
Amazing.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for having me on.
Dude, thank you for
appreciate
coming. Thank you for coming to the dip, bro.
Yeah, anytime.
It's fucking Mikey McPartland, bro. I've been calling him Mikey McFarland, and he came down to fucking the dip, aka the Serendipity, aka the dip. All right, what do you think we should do? Do we name it the fucking Little Shot Podcast? I don't want to be a big shot, just always wanted to be a little shot, or do we go with
good.
Shipwrecked with Woodsie?
You could do Shipwrecked with Woodsie. You could do. I feel like some boat related would be good. Like, is Walk the Plank like too tacky?
Probably.
Walk the Plank's too tacky. But Speedboat, Steve Woods.
No.
Nah.
I think we got to go Shipwrecked with Woodsie or the Little Shot. Never wanted to be a big shot, just wanted to be a little shot.
I like Shipwrecked.
Shipwrecked with Woodsie.
Yeah.
Should we change it right now?
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
All right, it's now Shipwrecked with Woodsie. That was a fucking tough one.
When in Rome, right?
When in Rome, bro. Mike, thank you for coming on, brother.